Is prosperity really biblical? Does God really want his children to prosper? Are there any examples in the Bible? I'm Garen, and today I want to explore biblical examples of prosperity. Are there any? You bet. One of the greatest indicators of how God feels about wealth are the lives of his children. What did their lives look like? How did they live? Did they have finances and resources? Let us examine their lives in the Bible for further understanding. I'm choosing not to go in depth on Adam and Eve as well as the first generations of men. They literally had the earth to themselves and were given dominion over everything in it. I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to even imagine my family having the entire earth to ourselves. If dominion over the entire earth is not prosperity, then I don't know what is. But let's start with Abraham. Abraham is the father of our faith. He was reckoned righteous because he trusted God. But what about his finances? I'm going to let the Word of God shed light on his financial condition. Genesis 12:2 says, "And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing." Genesis 13:2 says, "Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold." Well, that describes things pretty plainly, doesn't it? Genesis 13:5-6 says, "And Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support both of them dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together." And Genesis 13:14-18 says, "The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, 'Lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land that you see I will give to you and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring also can be counted. Arise, walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I will give it to you.' So Abram moved his tent and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord." Now, Genesis tells us that Abraham was very rich. He was so rich that he and his nephew Lot were not able to live near each other. The Bible tells us that the land could not support both of them and their possessions. You know that you are living abundantly when the land cannot support you. At Genesis 14:14-16 says, "When Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he led forth his trained men born in his house, 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan." Now, prosperity is not just finances, it's not just money, it's also family. Genesis 15:13-14. "Then the Lord said to Abram, 'Know for certain that your offspring will be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and will be servants there. And they will be afflicted for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation that they serve, and afterward they shall come out with great possessions.'" God gives Abraham a glimpse into the future of his family. No one wants to hear that their family will be afflicted for 400 years. Even so, God gives Abraham the promise that they will come out with great possessions. They will come out of their affliction with great prosperity. That's a word for some of you. Genesis 20:14-16. "Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male servants and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, 'Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you.' To Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver.'" Genesis 21:22-24 goes on, "At that time Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, 'God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or with my descendants or with my posterity. But as I have dealt kindly with you, so you will deal with me and with the land where you have sojourned.' And Abraham said, 'I will swear.'" So we see here a king adding to the prosperity of Abraham. Abraham's possessions and wealth have been growing over the years of his life. He continues to increase. The blessing of God has led to Abraham prospering. This king is clearly desiring to obtain the favor of Abraham. Genesis 24:1 says, "Now Abraham was old, well advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things." All things, not just spiritual, but all things. We can get a glimpse into how God delights to deal with his children by how he blessed the father of our faith. Genesis 24:34-36 goes on, "So he said, 'I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become great. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male servants and female servants, camels and donkeys, and Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he has given all that he has." These verses give a clear picture of Abraham's latter days. His servant states that God has greatly blessed his master and that Abraham has become great. He has built up great herds along with silver and gold. To be considered great, one has to be prospering at a level much more than those around them. Some people today might have accused Abraham of being unbiblical or ungodly due to this blessing of God. We have to be very careful not to judge others based on our cultural beliefs or wrong mindsets. Now let's move on to the son of Abraham, Isaac. Genesis 26, 3 through 5 says, "Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you, and I will bless you. For to you and to your offspring I will give all these lands, and I will establish the oath that I swore to Abraham your father. I will multiply your offspring as the stars of heaven, and will give to your offspring all these lands. And in your offspring all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws." Genesis 26, 12 through 14 goes on, "And Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich, and gained more and more until he became very wealthy. He had possessions of flocks and herds and many servants, so that the Philistines envied him." Now, the blessing of God does not have to be a slow, gradual process. Isaac reaped 100-fold in the same year that he sowed. Your circumstances can change very quickly. Isaac became rich and eventually very wealthy. An entire nation of people literally envied this single man. Again, I can think of a lot of religious Christians today that would have been against Isaac because of this. Genesis 26:16 says, "And Abimelech said to Isaac, 'Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we.'" And then Genesis 26:26 through 29, "When Abimelech went to him from Gerar with Ahuzzath his advisor and Phicol the commander of his army, Isaac said to them, 'Why have you come to me, seeing that you hate me and have sent me away from you?' They said, 'We see plainly that the Lord has been with you.' So we said, 'Let there be a sworn pact between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, just as we have not touched you and have done to you nothing but good and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord.'" Now imagine a king coming to you asking you to move away from him and his people because you have literally become more prosperous and greater than his entire kingdom. Notice that Abimelech says they see plainly the Lord has been with Isaac. How did they see this? They have seen this because of the increase on Isaac. Abimelech understood God's money laws better than most modern day believers. People should credit your prosperity to God. Now let's go on to Isaac's son, Jacob. Genesis 30, 25 through 28. "As soon as Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, 'Send me away that I may go to my own home and country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, that I may go, for you know the service that I have given you.' But Laban said to him, 'If I have found favor in your sight, I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Name your wages and I will give it.'" Genesis 30 and 31 says, "For you had little before I came, and it has increased abundantly. And the Lord has blessed you wherever I turned. But now, when shall I provide for my own household also?" He said, "What shall I give you?" Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything. If you will do this for me, I will again pasture your flock and keep it." So your prosperity is not just about you. Just as Jacob's prosperity impacted the man he worked for. Laban clearly saw that God was blessing him because of Jacob. Did those we work for attribute their increase to us? Now Genesis 30:43 says, "Thus the man increased greatly, and had large flocks, female servants and male servants, and camels and donkeys." Genesis 31:1 says, "Now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, 'Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's, he has gained all this wealth.'" And then Genesis 32:13 through 15. "So he stayed there that night, and from what he had with him, he took a present for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milking camels and their calves, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys." Now that is quite the gift from Jacob to his brother. The cost of such a gift today would run somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million. Now how does one give such a gift? Well, Jacob was walking in the blessing and increase of God. Genesis 36:6 through 8 says, "Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the members of his household, his livestock, and all his beasts and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. He went into a land away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land of their sojournings would not support them because of their livestock. So Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. Now, sounds familiar, doesn't it? We saw the same situation with Abraham and Lot. These brothers could not live near each other because the land could not support their families and all of their possessions. Their possessions were too great. So are we talking about them moving a few miles apart? How about 10 or 20 miles apart? Their possessions were so great that Esau literally moved his family and all he had an estimated 100 to 120 miles away from Jacob. Now, these are just a few examples from the Old Testament, but they give us a very striking picture of how the blessing of God touches entire families, not just spiritually, but also financially. They continue to increase more and more. These aren't all the examples either, just what we had time for today. If you want to hear about the others, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Kyle, and I'm believing with you for your biblical prosperity.